I'd like to introduce our presenter, Cap Wilkes, for today's webinar. Thanks for joining us, Cap, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Kiona, and welcome everybody to our webinar today, Action Planning for Sustainability. It's nice to see all of you on the call, and I see a couple new names. So Christy Adkins, it's so nice to see you. I'm really glad you're able to join us from Coalfield Network in Kentucky. That's really great. We'll have a chance, I hope, to do a little bit of talking today. I'm going to spend most of the time presenting, but as Kiona said, if you have some questions, please be sure to get our attention. You can use the raising your hand icon. You know, I love it when you guys do that. Jump on in if you want to as well, *2 to unmute. And a trick I do, because *2 to unmute takes a minute. You get a little voice that tells you that you're unmuted or muted, which is handy, but I also use my phone mute, so I usually *2 and then use my phone to mute and unmute myself. So there is just a tip if you'd like. I'm just going to do a little shout out to our ACE for EMS folks, because I was there the other day and had a lovely time in Louisiana, and also they're suffering a little bit, if not maybe even a lot, with the hurricane rains, which are so crazy. And then I also just want to say that to Reba and Quentin that I'm looking forward to seeing you guys even just next week. So that's all quite exciting. So let's go ahead. I think we've got everybody basically here. So thank you also for being so timely. I'm going to switch us over to our presentation page. So reaching for sustainability specifically for Rural Network Allied Health grantees. And I've included Angie on this slide deck today because I want to highlight her involvement in creating these resources and making this available to you all through our TA work. Angie won't be talking in the presentation today unless she's has something she wants to jump in with, but you all know that she's available for questions and that kind of a thing, and the sustainability action planning is up her alley as well for helping you all out. You have a sustainability plan as a grant deliverable. It's due next March, so March 2018. That is a ways off, but we wanted to provide you with resources to support your work. And this presentation provides you with a way to approach your program sustainability, a guide and a template that meets your requirements of your grant sustainability plan are available to you. And as Kiona mentioned, they're in the lower left box as downloads. One of them is a PDF that is the guide and provides a lot of the background information and includes a sample to get you started and to help solve some of those in-between questions. And then there's also the template, which is a Word document you can use for developing your sustainability action plans. Today I'm going to talk initially about sustainability, introducing some ideas and a definition so that we're all on the same page. RHI has also put together a guide and template for you to help with your deliverable, but in our minds, even more importantly, to help you think through your program and network sustainability. The National Rural Health Resource Center, RHI, which is Rural Health Innovations, and us, your network TA team, have been working with rural health networks for a pretty long time, and we have a solid understanding of how network organizations and programs function. Our TA goal is that of helping you succeed and your allied health programs with the goal in mind. We have been studying what makes networks and programs sustainable and how we can help you with this effort. Over this time, working with and studying and supporting and talking with networks, we found that combining a systems framework with a business ideas leads to sustainability. And because of our insights in this combination of systems thinking and business ideas, we've been developing our knowledge of the Baldrige Performance Excellence Framework and the Business Model Canvas. So those are our background go-to references. And with these ideas, we've created this presentation and the resources that we're presenting to you today to help you think through the parts of your program and also how those parts work together to achieve your program goals and outcomes. So the key point really is that the systems idea matched with business ideas allows you as an organization and a program to be sustainable, at least moves you in a very strong positive direction in that way. But let's start with defining what we mean by sustainability by thinking about it as an idea rather than a destination. There was a researcher that we found, Mary Ann Shear. She did a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation study in 2005, and she considered 19 empirical studies of American and Canadian health-related programs, and she examined the extent of sustainability achieved and was able to identify factors contributing to greater sustainability. And all of that's very interesting, but the other thing she found was a variety of definitions of what is sustainability. But the thing that was interesting is they were all focused on achieving outcomes and maintaining the ability to continue activities over time. So another way of saying this, and the definition we've developed for rural health networks, is the ability to achieve desired outcomes through implementation and deployment of the organization's business plan. We came up with this definition by again, thinking through those reference documents, the foundational thinking of the Baldrige Performance Excellence Framework and the Business Model Canvas. Sustainability, when you put it this way, sounds like a pretty easy thing to do, simply implement and deploy a business plan. But it isn't that easy, or else we'd all be sustained organizations with no worries at all about the future. So the problem is that planning for sustainability requires more than simply executing a series of standalone plans. The strategic plan, marketing plan, operational plan, financial plan. And you all know this. It's more than implementing, it's actually understanding how the different parts interact with each other and actively working to improve both the different parts, all of those plans you're working on and all of the execution that you're working on, how they work in interaction with each other. And that starts being where we make progress towards sustainability. And that's really talking about a systems approach married with our business ideas. So given this definition of sustainability, that as the ability to achieve desired outcomes through implementation and deployment of the organization's business plan, we'll present 3 steps for reaching towards sustainability. So we're getting kind of to the guts of our sustainability action planning ideas. The first step is to immerse yourself in your business plan by completing an organizational profile. Because our programs are multifaceted and complex, we need to understand the systems that work together to achieve the results. That's the first step. The next step is to assess our efforts and progress using key sustainability factors to help identify those areas in which we're doing well and those areas that may be hindering our efforts, or perhaps we haven't even focused on them yet. These become our opportunities for improvement or opportunities for sustainability. And thirdly, actively pursue improvement through action plans as ways to improve the performance of the organization or the program and therefore reach towards sustainability. The first step in reaching towards sustainability is to immerse yourself in your business plan by completing an organizational profile. That's understanding all of the systems that are in play as you deploy your program. There are 4 major sections, and for those of you that have been working on your business plan, these will be familiar to you. And for those of you that aren't working on your business plan, these are actually probably familiar to you as well, but not in such a structured way. The strategic system includes understanding the environment you work in and thinking strategically to achieve your vision. The marketing system includes understanding your customer and developing services that are valued by your members or customers, plus being able to communicate that value effectively. The operations system includes processes and infrastructure to effectively create, design, develop, and deliver those services and products to your members and customers. The financial system establishes the flow of funds between the network and its members customers, funders, vendors, contractors, etc. Your networks have been thinking about your business plan, and we presented you with some tools earlier in the year, and we've encouraged you to be working on this with your Allied Health grant. This organizational profile is really a summary of that business plan. The sustainability assessment is the second step in reaching towards sustainability, and the purpose of this assessment is to look carefully at how an organization is deploying their business plan. And this takes a systems approach, understanding how all the puzzle pieces fit together. We've designed this series of questions from multiple system framework resources. So we've used the Baldrige Performance Excellence Framework criteria that I've mentioned several times. We've also used the balanced scorecard methodology that David Kaplan and Robert Norton developed in the 80s. It's a very tried and true business approach to a systems thinking of business ideas. We've used the Studer Principles by Quint Studer and the work of Patrice Spath and her book, Leading Your Healthcare Organization to Excellence, both great references. We've included all of these references in your guide so that you can do further learning. We've developed this assessment through our extensive work over the past 5 years with Rural Health Networks. Initially, we created this for the Rural HIT Network Development Grantees, and we've been fine-tuning it and using it over the past 4 years, gathering sustainability information about Rural Health Networks. We're actually currently working with the National Cooperative of Health Networks, NCHN, to field test some questions and identify how they're correlated so that we can continue to build a tool to assess sustainability. The purpose of the assessment really is for each unique organization to assess how they are uniquely deploying their business plan in an effort to achieve their goals and their vision. The questions are designed as key factors in performance and therefore sustainability. Assessment is a systems approach that allows leaders to better understand how a business plan is being deployed. So if you're doing the assessment, know that you are engaged in a systems approach for understanding your projects and your organizations. The goal of the assessment is to provide an opportunity through the lens of your organizational profile to identify those performance areas that are already strong and those that may be barriers to sustainability. As you rate yourself on those questions, the lower rated items identify the opportunities for sustainability. We're going to be referring to those as OFS. These OFS, it doesn't roll off the tongue really well, so don't ask me to say that a whole bunch of times in a row, but they do focus efforts to improve performance. Now, these opportunities for sustainability, the OFS action plans, is the third step of reaching towards sustainability. This action planning tool focuses on selected key barriers, or those opportunities, that have been identified through your assessment. The intention is to support progress toward program outcomes and financial viability by considering how to improve deployment of your business plan using a systems approach to identify the opportunities. These action plans are primarily an internal document for network leaders to focus initiatives and resources. Network staff will use the action plans to implement identified improvements, and your board members will use the action plans to better understand the network's sustainability and provide support and input. This action planning becomes an internal activity that really is about improving your performance in very targeted ways, opportunities that were identified by doing your assessment. So our opportunity for sustainability tools, we did create 2 documents for you. I've mentioned them briefly at the beginning. We have a guide, Opportunities for Sustainability, a guide for action planning, and that's a PDF document available for you to download, and we'll have it on our website as a resource. And we also have a template, Opportunities for Sustainability, a template for action planning. And this is a Word document that is meant to walk you through the the 3 steps of sustainability action planning. So I've been talking through these 3 steps: understanding your business by working through the profile, finding opportunities through completing the sustainability assessment, and working through plan, do, study, act, the cycle of action planning to proactively improve aspects of your program or your organization. So what I thought I would do here for the next bit is actually walk through these documents. If you have had a chance to download them, that's great, and you can be looking at them as I'm talking. As question arises, if I go over something too quickly or it's a little bit confusing, please double check in with us either through the chat box or star 2 to unmute, or however you'd like to raise your hand, and we'll continue to walk through these tools, because this is really what we're trying to do, is get you jump-started on your action planning. So the first part of the guide, and what will be found in what we have already really been discussing, I've put it into the first 2 sections of our document. Oh, Reba and Quentin, thank you for your question. What does PDSA stand for? Apologies for that. It's a code word, I guess. It's plan, do, study, act. Some people refer to it as a PDCA, plan, do, check, act. It's a action planning acronym that was developed ages ago by a guy named Edward Demings, and he is really one of the first thinkers about doing a cycle of planning that allows you to gather data at the place where the action is happening. So he was working in a manufacturing environment, and his idea was, let's get the people who are doing the actual manufacturing and see problems as they come up. Let's get those folks to do some problem solving on improvement. But we don't need to do a shotgun approach for improvement. Let's actually be very precise about it. So we plan for the improvement. You do the thing that you planned. You gather data. You study the results. And then with the results of that work, you revise your actions and then go through the cycle again using the revisions for fresh planning. So it's a cycle of plan, do the plan, study the results, and create some more action. For our guide, you're welcome, Reba and Quentin. For your guide, the purpose and background is really a lot of this theoretical piece. It's meant to broaden the definition of sustainability past only considering the financial viability of your organization, and instead considering sustainability as an idea, a destination, so to speak, versus an idea versus a destination, because it's about having a systems perspective and deploying your business plan in such a way that you're constantly improving it and increasing your performance, and therefore being sustained over time. The purpose of this background section is to give you some of the whys behind this deliverable. We've also included in our guide a glossary of terms. There are terms you will find throughout the sustainability materials. They're built and actually come from the Baldrige Performance Excellence criteria. If you do a Google search on Baldrige, you'll find some criteria. That's kind of the listing of questions that they use in a formal assessment through that organization and association. And they have provided definitions that we use. Taking time to read through these terms creates a better frame of reference for you and your network's sustainability work. It really puts everybody on the same page. So take some time with those terms before you proceed to the rest of the document, and use them as a reference tool and incorporate them into your language as you're working through your sustainability work. The final section of the guide, so I was just introduced the first couple pages, and I'm jumping to the last page just to make sure we get it covered. The last page in your guide is the reference list. It includes those reference documents that has informed our thinking as putting the guide together and what we would commend to you for additional learning. The organizational profile, so let's dig into what you'll find when you move through the guide and also your template. The organizational profile is a starting point for your sustainability action planning work. It helps you as a network leader understand the systems within your network. The organizational profile summarizes the business plan. Some of you have finished it and others are still working on your plan. And you're finding, I'm sure, that your business plan is a compilation of plans that the network has developed over time in achieving its outcomes and working towards its vision. And what we do when we're working in the organizational profile is summarize those key aspects. It's a chance of study. It contains 4 components, the same as your business plan: the strategy and leadership, marketing and communication, operations and infrastructure, and the financial outlook. The key to writing this organizational profile is to review each component of your business plan and then summarize those key aspects that describe the organization and how it operates. This is really a deep dive into your business so that it is fresh in your mind. We would encourage you to use the template that's provided that allows for filling in the different aspects of your organizational profile. And I have several slides here to walk through what is in the guide, which are the descriptions for each one of the sections of the operational profile. The template provides these same sections, but they're blank, of course, so that you can put in your own documentation. Before we even move into the strategic thinking of your business plan, we always want to put the top-level guidance, and that's our vision and mission of the organization or the project. It's really how you describe what you're aiming for. The vision is the future state, the description of what you hope to achieve with your project. The mission is how you function or what you do. Is how you think of your mission. Now, in your projects, this could be your highest level goals is your vision, you know, the big thing you're trying to do. And the mission is how you actually do that in collaboration with your members and that kind of a thing. You've worked through your vision and mission. It's in your business plan, so this shouldn't be new work for you when you get to the organizational profile. Likewise, in the strategic planning section, this is also not new work for you. This is part of what's in your strategic planning document. The environmental scan comes from your strategic plan, and it's the information that you've thought through that is helping or getting in the way of your work. And when you're doing your organizational profile, you want to pull out the key things, just the few that help guide your thinking as you're considering the entire organization. So again, this organizational profile is meant to be a summarization of the key points of your business plan in order to get it into your working memory, so to speak, so that you can use it in your analysis during the assessment section. Also in your strategic objectives, shown here on the right side of the PowerPoint presentation, just use 3 to 5 words to describe what your strategic objectives are. You might have a list of 4 or 5 of them. After your strategic thinking, the next piece is your marketing thinking. The elements that make up your market analysis portion include your member needs and probably how you understand your competition. What's the environment that you as a network are working in? So what is the marketing analysis? Well, that again is part of your business plan. So bringing it into your profile allows you just to summarize the key points. You also want to be thinking of, or add to your profile, what are those really directly stated value propositions. You don't need a lot of words in your profile. It's simply to get you thinking. The value statements came up and you developed those over the last year of your work. We've provided you with some tools for that. And I'm hoping that that makes a lot of sense to you. Promotion and communication are how you are delivering your message to those target audiences that you have, and delivery is describing at a summary level, how do you deliver the services that your project is working on. The next section of your operations is your operations review. All of these elements can also be found in your business plan in the leadership and operations review component. Leadership is a brief description of the leadership skills that are needed to keep the network pushing forward. It might be that an organizational chart makes sense. Remember, this is a summary version, so keep it brief, but show that you have the needed staff and the skill to move the network to the next level and to provide the services you've said that you would. The key initiatives are those top 5 or so initiatives that keep your network going forward. They're the things that you are executing on every day. You're looking at 6 to 18 months out, probably, if you're talking about key initiatives. Resources are those infrastructure pieces that are in place to make the operations of your network possible. And your key partners are those organizations and individuals who are working in concert with you in order to achieve the goal. This might not be a list of your members. It might be, it's possible that it could be the key partners that are really engaged in what you're doing and they're required for you in order to be successful. And then the final element of this operations review is the key results. And this is where you take your evaluation plan and you look at the 3 to 5 items that really tell the story of your progress and your impact. The financial outlook is the last piece of your organizational profile. And this is a part of your business plan. You should have at some point have some kind of a forecast of your approximately a 3-year, a 1, 2, or 3-year kind of a forecast. So a brief statement of what your financial outlook is goes into this section of your profile. That completes the first of your 3 components of your sustainability action planning effort, the organizational profile. It truly is a study of your business plan so that this allows you to be intentional about understanding your project and all the systems that go into the work that you do. And it is in understanding your business that you're able to then see opportunities for sustainability while you're working through your assessment. Recall that sustainability is about achieving outcomes and maintaining the ability to continue your activities over time. That is implementing and deploying your network's business plan. So here's step 2 of your sustainability action plan. It actually includes 22 questions. They're organized by the Baldrige components of leadership, strategic planning, members and partners, measurement and feedback, operations and process, and workforce. These questions are organized within the business plan sections as well, and it's important to complete this as self-assessment after completing the organizational profile, because it's after you've spent time systematically studying your project that you'll be able to think through this assessment very clearly. The profile sets the context and provides key insights to be considered during the completion of your assessment. So our suggestion to you, and it's a strong suggestion, a lot of encouragement here, is to use a small group that knows your network in order to complete the sustainability assessment. You may even want to send this out to some of your network members to see what they think, or it may be that you bring folks together and you talk through each of these 22 questions and rank your response 1 to 5 on how well you're doing. So 1 is, I'm not even aware of needing to work on this particular item, all the way to 5 being, we've completely achieved this particular line item of the assessment. So for example, the very first question under strategic thinking is, network mission and vision are complete and have been communicated organization-wide. So 5, I've completely done this as a project or an organization. All the way down to 4, well, 4 being, generally I've done this, yes, maybe not everybody, but most people know what our mission and vision is. 3 being, it's in progress. We haven't finalized things perhaps, but we're working on them. 2 is, oh, we're just beginning talking about this. Excuse me, that's bad manners. And 1 is, we're not even aware of needing a mission and a vision or communicating it organization-wide. So you get the idea. There's 22 of these questions, and we're going to be asking you to fill them out and look for those items that are ranked lower, 1, 2, or 3. That identifies those sustainability activities and ideas that are opportunities for you, opportunities for improvement, and opportunities to consider for your action planning. Remember that it's important to complete this self-assessment after you complete the organizational profile. Again, we encourage you to do this in a small group because it's not just the project leaders' ideas. It's good to have a group of people thinking about your project. Complete the self-assessment by circling the rating that makes sense, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1, for each one of the questions. When you get your results back, your assessment's all done. Within your guide, we've provided a focused conversation. That'll ring true for several of you all on the phone, but it's a facilitated discussion that helps a group of people decide which of the opportunities for sustainability, those that were rated 3 or lower, there's probably going to be more than 3. So this is a conversation to prioritize those and decide which ones you're going to actually do action planning on. The third step of our sustainability action planning is to use 3 of the opportunities to do some detailed action planning. So this conversation is available to you in your guide. It will help you talk through and select the top 3 issues that are opportunities that you want to work on. What that'll do is set you up to have 3 opportunities for sustainability action plans. In your template, we have provided blank planning documents, and one of them is called the Action Plan Summary. This is simply a document where you write down the 3 actions that you've decided, the 3 opportunities for sustainability that you've decided to work on, the selected OFSs. This is the final part of your action planning to go actually into the action planning process. The action planning process will identify initiatives that you need to address to make progress towards improving your opportunities. The primary function of this action plan truly is as an internal working document. It will lead you to focus your action initiatives, to select resources. Network staff can use this action plan to implement improvements. In the template, we've provided 3 blank action planning documents. Each one walks you through some of the detailed project management steps to doing good planning work. We have questions about what are the actions that will make a difference for your opportunity for improvement, who will implement those actions, when it'll start, what resources are needed, when will it be done, how do you know when you've been successful, some of those really basic plan, do, study, act kinds of questions. So that's also available in your template. The template walks you through each of the pieces of this action planning work, and the documents themselves are due at the end of March. So you actually have a lot of time to be working on this. We wanted to get it to you sooner than later so that you knew what we were thinking about sustainability action planning, and to provide you with enough time to get your group together and do some conversations around how your organization is going to approach sustainability action planning. This is actually bringing me towards to the end of my presentation, and we have time for questions and conversation about action planning. I'm going to move to my last slide is the contact information. And I'm wondering if folks could talk with me a little bit about how they imagine doing action planning for sustainability with their organizations. Perhaps the easy question I'll ask first is, what in this presentation kind of caught your attention? Something that either resonated with you or you were surprised about? Folks be able to visit with me a little bit? Star 2 to unmute. You can use the chat box, or you can raise your hand using the happy emoticon at the top of your Adobe Connect page. Come on, folks, you've got to have some insights on what do you think about this sustainability action planning? How do you think it'll fit with your projects? All right. Hey, Paul, I know that you always have something on your mind because you're a good thinker. Going to call on you, star 2 to unmute. Would you share with us initial thoughts about the Sustainability Action Planning Toolkit?
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Probably the thing that stands out for me as far as usefulness is the background. It all makes sense, obviously, but you guys have provided a lot of background. I haven't had a chance to look through it, but I'm really looking forward. For example, I know my wife is part of the leadership team at a large hospital in Indianapolis, and they're using the Studer method, so I'm looking forward to reading through all the resources that you guys have provided.
Great. Great. That's, yeah, Studer. Yeah. Yep. I think Studer does some really good systems thinking, and what I think one of their powerful parts is that they translate it into language that isn't very fancy. It's very straightforward and easy to understand language.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. Great.
Marcia, I might pick on you a little bit too. I know we've been talking about doing some sustainability work and what a sustainability action plan might do. Any thoughts that you would like to share with the group? You're a systems thinker. Oh, Marcia's typing. She might not be available. Sure. Well, if you can, Marcia, that'd be awesome if you could call in, but I understand. And Christy Adkins, can I pick on you because we haven't met? It'd be lovely to hear your voice, and star 2 to unmute. And I know you're brand new, but any thoughts you had to share with the group besides a hello?
Hi there. How is everybody?
Hi, Christy. We're doing really great. Nice to hear your voice.
Thank you. Nice to be included.
Good. Any initial thoughts or something that struck you during today's presentation on sustainability?
Other than being struck by being completely overwhelmed, no.
Well, I'm going to make sure you feel welcome to give either Angie or I a call. We'd be happy to talk through it some more and help you keep getting started.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll have lots of questions. I appreciate the offer.
Absolutely. Hey, Stephanie, thank you for raising your hand. I love that. Star 2 to unmute.
Me?
Yep, we sure can.
Okay, sorry, I had 2 different mutes, my phone mute and the star 2 mute, so I was kind of double muted there. I think from HCC perspective, we just have to figure out, you know, HCC is already a strong network, and they review sustainability and strategic plan all the time, like almost yearly.
Yeah.
So I guess we just need to sit down, kind of the Suzanne, Stephanie, and I, and think about this in more of a smaller sense in terms of what we've developed with the grant award, what we've kind of started with, what we can sustain on our own, versus coming in and trying to rebuild a network that's already, you know, strong. We don't want to come in and try and rewrite that for our leaders that are already kind of have that vision every year. But I guess we'll probably take a smaller approach if that's okay, on how we will sustain what we've been able to grow with the grant.
Absolutely, and it's a great point, Stephanie. For folks that want to think about this as where their project is really a part of a larger organization, just switch out the word organization and put the word program or project in there. And the assessment will really, most of it will be very relevant to and scalable to a project. If there are questions that don't feel relevant, just simply don't include them in your assessment. You know, X them out or put an NA by them. The assessment is meant to get you all thinking, get your juices flowing and considering the project, and then what are those pieces that are working well, and what is it that we could improve upon. So awesome suggestion and topic. I think, you guys, what I want you to leave with is that sustainability isn't, of course it does mean financial viability, because that's one of your outcomes. You know, one of the things that you're trying to achieve is to make more money than you spend, so to speak, and that's a huge challenge. But it goes back to, what are the services we're providing? How do our members value those services? What is our infrastructure and resources available for delivering those services? Are we providing what we said we were providing? What are the goals, and how are we evaluating progress? So you won't be a sustained organization even if you have the money for very long, because you won't be providing the service that you said you're able to provide. So I'm asking you to really think broadly.
Yep, this is Marcia. Let me first just say thank you all for participating, and I love the discussion. And I turn my phone off and just go through the computer. That's why it takes me a while. But anyway, so please accept my apologies. But the thing that as far as sustainability is concerned, certainly as far as the grantor, we look at sustainability or want to consider sustainability from day one, and for the grantee to be thinking about it so that when the funds, of course, have the federal funds have discontinued, the effort that you all came together to work towards is constantly going, if anything, expanding, but at least the initial effort is continued. But what I like, certainly all of the different tools that you have brought together to help to create this document. But I think that one of the striking things that I heard you say was to bring together a focus group, and in order to kind of discuss some of these questions, because I think sometimes that you get so into what it is that you're doing that your perspective might be just a little skewed, if you will. And when you can get the feedback of other people, I think it's important, so that you can make sure that you're on the right track, but you're also looking towards the future and going in the direction that everybody wants to go in, and it would then be more likely to be sustained as opposed to the direction that just some people would want, and it's not something that is altogether embraced.
Well said. Yep. Awesome. So let's see. What else do we have? Mark, I'm going to pick on you. You have always great insights. I'm wondering what struck you about this work, and I think you might have been a part of the development grant that did a similar approach for sustainability action planning. Are you nearby? You can join us with your voice.
Can you hear me now?
We sure can.
Okay. Let's see here.
What was something about the sustainability action planning that caught your attention?
I guess for us, I mean, it really helps us to kind of take that step back, and instead of being in the moment, which it seems like we really are on the grant, the sustainability plan really forces you to look forward long term. I mean, really long term, not just the next year, but multiple years down the line. So that's where we've really used it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Great. I think that's a wonderful perspective to encourage folks to use that long-term view when you're going through that profile and you're thinking through the assessment. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Anyone else willing to share their insight or something that struck them during the presentation today? Beth Ann from Montana, just a quick check-in. What was something that caught your attention? Star 2 to unmute. I paused because it does take a while if you're going to do star 2 to unmute. Donna,